Okay, welcome back. We're still continuing with chapter. Okay, we're going to do the division of real numbers. Our objectives are to divide integers, to find the reciprocal of a real number, divide real numbers, and solve applied problems involving multiplication and division of real numbers. So this is, again, if you have your notes, this looks a little bit better on your notes, but it's really A divided by B, or A over B, where B does not equal 0, is that unique real number C. So it means it winds up being a real number C. And then you wind up with A equals B times C. So you're going to kind of convert the division problems into multiplication problems. So let's look at some examples. So our first example says 15 divided by negative 3. Well, you used to do this a long time ago in math class. What did you have to multiply negative 15 by to get a positive 3? What did you have to multiply the negative 3 by to get a positive 15? Think about it. It has to be another negative number because your answer is positive by being 15. So we know you can write it this way and think 15 divided by negative 3 is going to give us negative 5. Now, number 2, 45 divided by negative 5 is going to give us a negative 9. And you can go back and check it. If you say negative 3 times negative 5, does that give us a positive 15? It does. And then if you say negative 5 times negative 9, does that give us a positive 45? It does. So there's ways to check your work. So to multiply or divide two real numbers where the divisor is non-zero, okay, that's what we're going to look at. Multiply or divide the absolute values. If the signs are the same, the answer is positive. If the signs are different, the answers are negative. Same rules are going to apply in division that apply to multiplication. If you have an even number of negative signs, then your answer is positive. And if you have an odd number of negative signs, then your answer is negative. So 0 divided by any non-zero real number simply becomes 0. A cannot equal 0. That's what this says. A cannot equal 0. You can't have a 0 in the denominator. Do you remember what that's called if you do? It's called and. Alright, let's look at this one. It says negative 72 divided by 0. Anything divided by 0 is undefined. You can't put 0, you can't put nothing, you can't put anything. You have to put undefined. If you do not write the word undefined, I will mark it wrong. 0 divided by 150 is simply going to be 0. And if you can't remember how this looks, if you say negative 72 over 0 and then 0 over 150, if the 0 is in the bottom, then it's undefined. If it's in the top, it is simply just 0. Reciprocals are two numbers whose product is 1 are called reciprocals or inverses. Multiplicative inverses of each other. So basically it's just if you can flip it and then if you multiply it together you should come up with 1. So we're going to talk about what is the reciprocal of number 1. The reciprocal of number 1 is simply 7 over 6. Number 2 was a negative 6, so its reciprocal becomes, if you drop a 1 up under here, that makes it a fraction, and then its reciprocal becomes 1 over negative 6. And we're going to talk about that negative sign where it can go at a later date, okay? Number 3 is 1/4. It looks like when it slid things off, our numbers got off. So number 3 is 1/4. And the reciprocal of 1/4 is 4/1. And then number 4 is -8/9. And the reciprocal of that is really 9/8. And you can put the negative sign either in the top, the bottom, or the middle. Doesn't matter, just as long as you have 1 in there. Alright, use your notes to read this one, okay? It's a little messed up. For A does not equal 0, the reciprocal of A can be named 1/A. And the reciprocal of 1/A is simply A. The reciprocal of any non-zero real number can be named A/B. Non-real number A/B can be named B/A. And the number 0 has no reciprocal. Alright, the signs of the reciprocal. It has to be the same sign as the number itself. So we're going to practice some of it. Let's look at this chart. If the number is -3/4, the opposite of its sign is going to be +3/4. But the reciprocal, you invert but you don't change the sign, is -4/3. 25. If the number is 25, its opposite is -25, and then its reciprocal is 1/25. Look at 23/3. Its opposite, all we're doing is changing its sign, is -23/3, but its reciprocal is 3/23. -85 or -8.5 becomes 8.5 positive. And then how you can write that as a fraction are a couple of different ways. You can do it as -1/8.5, which is what I would probably do, or -10/85. Now if the number is 0, its opposite still is 0, but it doesn't have a reciprocal, it is undefined. Again, using your notes, for any real numbers A and B, B does not equal 0. A divided by B equals A/B, or A times 1/B. So to divide, you multiply by the reciprocal of the divisor. We're going to talk about that one. Alright, so the first step is to rewrite these as multiplication. We're not going to solve them, we're not going to work them. It just says to rewrite them as multiplication. So I think of it as this way. We're going to keep the first one, we're going to change our operation, and we're going to flip the second one. So our first one is -9 divided by 5. So -9 times 1/5. See what we did there? We kept the first one, we changed our sign, and then we flipped the second one. We took the reciprocal. Let's look at number 2. The original problem is 3/4 divided by -2/5. So we're going to keep the first one. We're going to change the operation sign to multiplication, and then we're going to flip the second one. And because it was negative, it still has to stay negative. Alright. This one says divide by multiplying by the reciprocal of the divisor. Again, keep, change, flip. We're going to keep the first one. We're going to change the operation, and we're going to flip the second one. And you can do this a couple of different ways. I'm going to simplify here. 4 goes into 4 one time. 4 goes into 16 4 times. Then I'm going to multiply. So I wind up with 12/5. And in this class, you can leave that as your final answer, 12 over 5. I don't necessarily want a decimal answer, and I don't necessarily want a mixed number unless I tell you to find me one. Okay, this one is negative 18.6 divided by 3. Keep, change, flip. Okay, keep, change, flip. Or you could simply write, if you do keep, change, flip, you get negative 18.6 times 1 over 3. This becomes negative 18.6 divided by 3. You can do long division, you can use your calculator. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to say 18.6 divided by 3. I'm going to bring my decimal up. 3 goes into 18. How many times? 6 times. So we're going to multiply. I get 18. We're going to subtract. I get 0, and I'm going to bring down 6. 3 goes into 6 2 times. So 2 times 3 is 6. So our remainder is 0. And because we have one negative sign, our answer is 6.2. Negative 6.2. Again, follow along in your notes. For any real numbers A and B, B does not equal 0. So let's look at number 1. Negative A over negative B equals A over B. Think about it. How many negative signs do you have? 2. And if you have 2 negative signs, that's an even number of negative signs, so our answer is going to be positive. Look at number 2. Negative A over B equals A over negative B equals negative A over B. That's where I said we were going to talk about where that negative sign can appear. It doesn't matter as long as you have one negative sign. It can appear in the numerator, it can appear in the denominator, and most of the time you will see it kind of in the middle. Either one of those are correct. You only have one, so it is perfectly fine to say where it is. Alright, another word problem. And this time we have a drawing, so that helps. After diving 110 meters below sea level, a diver rises at a rate of 8 meters per minute for 6 minutes. Where is the diver in relation to the surface? So we want to know if he's still under the water after 6 minutes or if he's surfaced and can take his mask off. Remember, they have to be careful when they're surfacing because of the bubbles. If you go too fast, you get I think it's called the bends. And I've heard that's very, very painful, and it can even cause death. So let's think about it. He was originally 8 meters, or he rose at a rate of 8 meters per 6 minutes. So I'm going to start there. So for 8 meters times 6 minutes, that gives me 48 meters. That's how high he came up. Now, he was 110 meters below. So that's the same thing as saying negative 110. So he was a negative 110. He rose 48 meters, which is positive. He went up. So that still gives me a negative 62 meters. He still has a little bit to go, so I hope his oxygen held out. Okay, now we're going to do the margin exercises from your textbook. So let's open up your textbook, and we're going to go to the margin, and we're going to do problem number 4. And it says negative 48 divided by negative 6. I hope you guys can figure this one out. So if we have negative 48 divided by negative 6, we know our answer is going to be positive because we have 2 negative signs. 48 divided by 6 is simply just 8. Okay, let's look at exercise number 5. You have 30 divided by negative 5. You have one negative sign, so our answer is going to be negative. 30 divided by 5 is 6, so our answer is negative 6. Let's look at exercise number 6. We have negative 30 over 7. And as far as I know, that would give me a decimal. Nothing goes into it even. So it is simply just negative 30 over 7. It is perfectly fine to leave it that way. Alright, exercise number 7. I have negative 5 over 0. Look where that 0 is. It's in the bottom, so it is undefined. You may see in your book not defined. I will accept either one of these answers, but that's the only ones I will accept. Number 8 is 0 divided by negative 3. The 0 is in the top, so our answer is simply going to be 0. Problem number 16, we have 4/7 divided by negative 3/5. Remember, keep, change, flip. So we have 4/7 multiply by negative 5/3. And I'm going to multiply straight across, and I get negative 20 over 21. And that's perfectly fine to leave it like that. You can't simplify it anymore. We don't want a decimal answer by any means. The negative can be in the top, it can be in the bottom, it could be in the side. You're going to see me most of the time write it in the top, but your books will write it slap dab in the middle. Okay. Exercise 18 is A minus B over 7. And a lot of these are a little tricky. You guys can't always remember that it really is simply this right here when you try to go to work it, and then it's done just a little bit different. And so this is really saying A times 1/7 minus B times 1/7. So it's really A minus B in parentheses times 1/7. That one's a little bit trickier. Just be aware of those. You're going to see stuff like that when you're going to have to factor. Alright, problem number 23. Let me turn my page. Is 21.7 divided by negative 3.1. So keep, change, flip. So I have 21.7 times negative 1 over 3.1. So this becomes 21.7 divided by 3.1. You can punch that in your calculator, and that's what I'm going to do. 21.7 divided by 3.1 equals 7. And remember, I dropped it this time. There's a negative in there, so your answer is going to be negative 7. So just make sure you're aware of that. Our last exercise from the text, again, it's dealing with another chemical reaction. It's a word problem. It says, during a chemical reaction, the temperature in a beaker decreased every minute by the same number of degrees. The temperature was 71 degrees Fahrenheit at 212. By 237, the temperature had changed to negative 14 degrees. How many degrees did it change for each minute? So let's think about it. We had 212, and then we had 237. So I'm going to say 237 minus 212. How many minutes is that? So 37 minus 12. That gave me 25 minutes. Alright. So the temperature was originally 71 degrees, and it ended up by being 14 degrees. So how many degrees did it change per minute? So the way I look at this one, okay, we had a total amount. Again, you got to stop and think about it. So we had 71 plus the 14 degrees. And the reason I say plus the 14 degrees is because we have to count the absolute value of that. So 71 plus 14 degrees, that gives me 85 degrees. So it changed 85 degrees. It went from 71 to negative 14 degrees. So now I'm going to say 85. Whoops, let's write that better. $85 divided by 25. Keep, change, flip. So I get 85 times 1 over 25. So I get 85 over 25. So that should simplify a little bit. So that gives us a little bit clearer picture. Alright, let's see, 85 over 25 gives me 17 over 5, because if you divide them both by 5s until you get down, and then 17 divided by 5 equals 3.4. But let's think about it. Was it positive or negative? What did it say? It says that it decreased every minute. So we know that this was going to be a negative, so I'm going to go back in here and put a negative. So for 25 minutes, it decreased. So our final answer is 3.4. So negative 3.4 degrees per minute is what it decreased. Okay, the following is your suggested homework problems. Again, if you're in flipped class, we will do these in class. If you are doing this online with the My Math Lab, then you can use these as extra practice. If you are in a traditional 098 class of mine, then these would be your suggested homework problems that I suggest that you work. See you next time.